Hey everybody, we are back. It's time for another day of UniVersus gameplay. We've got a pretty hectic top 8 gonna be starting here in a second soon. But before we get into it, as the players get set up, David and I are gonna break it down and talk to you about the decks that are in this bracket.
The biggest one that jumps out to me is just that we have 3 of the latest version of Mikasa. Mikasa, Ackerman, Hizuru's Hope. I want to say that we only had 3 for the entire event that registered, and all 3 got into top cuts.
Yeah, that's a pretty crazy statistic, huh? Seeing all those, I mean, that's the biggest, I guess, a winner of this event so far in terms of characters, right? We had a bunch of Midoriyas, a bunch of Godzillas, is as we see, but she I think represented 4% of the environment, which at 75 players that makes sense. I think that is 3 characters,
Mhm.
everything players playing Mikasa, and 100% conversion to top cuts. And then for a top 8 out of 75 players is quite a bit, I think. I don't know. Maybe it's just the 2 Mikasa players in a on commentary talking about it.
Yeah, and then everybody else is there's no duplicates. We got one Rodan, one Deku, we got one Hanj, a Mitchell, and a Devil Jin. The only surprise here, I suppose, would just be that Hanj and Devil Jin made it despite being hit with pretty significant bans. Devil Jin with teaming with the Attack Titan, and Hanj with 9 Titans. And then the outlier character seems to be Mitch, but when you consider that it's also being played by Mitch, that's not too surprising um, for him to be playing his own character card. Um, so pretty diverse, kind of the characters we would expect, but I guess in new forms. We're gonna have the Shri versus Tam here for our top 8. Devil Jin versus Mikasa. And I was looking through the lists, and I was pretty impressed with how the Devil Jin has replaced teaming with the Attack Titan. But any major surprises here in this top 8 for you?
I mean, I wasn't surprised to see Mitchell top because he's been practicing for like a long time. It feels like on his character again. But no, I had to double check to see which Hanji it was that made the top. It's Hanji 1.
Mhm.
But yeah, Rodan makes sense. Deviljin and the Hanji making top 8 is pretty reassuring. It means that the characters got knocked down a peg, but we'll see. It seems like they're not quite as dominant as they were before the ban list.
Yeah, this might be a pretty quick top 8. Whenever we put on the latest Mikasa Hizuru's Hope on stream yesterday, those rounds went by
It went very
pretty
quick.
darn fast. And all the Mikasas are spread out in the top 8 bracket, so we're not going to have any mirror matches here. And with Devil Jin also being such an aggressive character, I could see this being a very quick top 8. I don't think this will take long at all. Who do you think has the upper hand here in this matchup specifically? I think it's Devil Jin that's going first, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I do think that the going first advantage is going to be a pretty big deal because static, like looking at their main decks, there's not a whole lot that these characters have for each other's defensively. There's not too many, tricks going on, right? The Mikasa deck is not playing any of the tools that you would need to deal with a a quick asset being brought in. It does have forcing surrenders, right, to kick a equipment heist out of the card pool, but we've seen that oftentimes Devil Jins will lead off with things like Vast Hybrid, Chimera Kraken to deal with threats like that. So I have to say it favors whoever's going to be going first, because Devil Jin doesn't have very much to do with Mikasa defensively, right? Maybe an aerial goblin bolt can be used as a block or something like that. Um, but on the flip side, I don't think Mikasa has much to disrupt apart from the forcing surrender or a timely Rigor 3. So I we're gonna see how it goes.
Yeah, yeah. Breaker 3 could come in pretty large. What I find so fascinating about the Devil Jin list is that it's really leaned into the camouflage counter kind of core game plan of
Hmm.
Devil Jin with adding in a lot of low attacks. And typically, when you think chaos low attack, you jump to walk the dog right away. But there's actually no walk the dog. Um, Instead, it's this really, really fun attack, hate fish, that says you get to double the next speed or damage bonus you give it. So if you say +8 damage with Devil Jin, this could be +16 damage. It doesn't matter that's the slowest move because this is the fourth low attack that you just played. And you can always be and your other non-low attacks that are in the deck, you can just add a camouflage counter to your card pool and make it a low. So almost feels kind of Mirio-esque in that sense. Although I have to imagine that Tam is ready for that and is going to know the block zones to hold.
Yeah, true. One of the things that's kind of fun about this specific matchup is that Mikasa will oftentimes be digging through the deck for specific block zones because they have so much draw on face, and so we're gonna be able to see exactly when Tam runs out of low blocks because they'll start hitting that button. And same for Devil Jin is gonna use because he can't use his ability offensively anymore. Defensively, he's probably going to be, did I have an aerial goblin bolt? Can I block with it? And try to stop something because that one does have a high. No, it has a mid block. Okay, so you will be able to use a goblin bolt regardless of where the string starts. But
Yeah, both these characters are pretty similar in their defense is that they're 35 health.
correct.
and
Yeah, yeah.
both of these characters can also just present 50 plus damage on turn 2, no problem.
Yeah, yeah. Assuming they get the right, setup, a good build, and an aggressive hand, they certainly can put out a ton of damage. But once we get to game 2 and game 3, I do think our sideboards are filled with a bunch of stuff, not just filled with doubt, but a bunch of stuff that can disrupt our opponents. Right, runaways are available in Shri sideboard as well as filled with doubts, and then in Tam sideboard we've got those heroes upbringings, we've got Dark Ward, we've got fashion icons and Genkai's guidances that I think will probably be coming in. And so I think that the game could get a little slower from game 2 onward as they sideboard in their defense.
Yeah, I could see that. Mikasa, the Koenma's task, probably just immediately switches to Heroes Upbringing. And
I think you might be right. Or you could see a really greedy play. You could maybe see 7 actions in a 5-hander by game 2 or 3. But yeah, I'm excited for this matchup. Looks like they're gonna be setting up. I don't understand this 5-card setup on Stree's side. But
it seems to have some sort of there's some sort of pattern going on.
Is this loss? I don't understand what's going on over here. But for the rest of the bracket, who do you think is favored between the not Mikasa matchup? Because on the other side of the bracket, we have Mikasa and Midoriya, which I do think favors Midoriya. Just because of the flash once he gets flipped over, the flash can be extremely disruptive. I think that the same goes for I think that it favors Mikasa between Mikasa and Rodan as well. But Mitchell and Hanji is not a matchup that I like have any sort of like thoughts about. Is that something that you could think of anything about?
No, I think that's a pretty true toss up. We saw that the Hanj was reliant on Titan pile to a much heavier extent than the 9 Titans version of Hanj. There's not much to for Mitchell to mess with the keywords on that one, on the keyword ratings. No, I think that one will be a pretty even toss up, and then the winner of this matchup will take on the winner of that matchup. We had 5 of these top 8 players on our stream yesterday throughout Swiss. If you missed them, I think the ones that we did not have were Kevin on Deku, Nathan James on Mikasa, and then Shri, as you see here, on Devil Jin. So looks like the players, they have sleeved up, they've shuffled up, and we're on our game 1. We're immediately building exam strategy, the best foundation that the Devil Jin list is going to have.
Yeah, the exam strategy starts getting absolutely insane later into a turn. Getting +5 or +6, +6 is pretty good, but no other foundations, right? And seeing here, Tam building 4 to Shri's 2, I will assume that Shri is probably going to go for a second build, which is gonna take a turn 2 out of the wheelhouse, so to speak. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's gonna go for it. Okay, yeah, he's going for it.
Yeah, well, if you draw an equipment heist, you got to go. You got to do it.
Yeah. I mean, you just get to dig for one more card, regardless of how it goes.
Yeah, discards the airship. If you're gonna try something on 2 foundations, that's a good one to build in with equipment.
That's certainly a good one to have in your discard pile. So what I've seen from the Devil Jins is that as soon as they check an attack, they add them to card pool. And
Yeah.
because they want to get to 3 in the card pool as quickly as possible. Okay, seeing there, we checked the 3, added it to card pool with the Chimera Kraken, gonna hit. I don't know. Weapon Clash is my vote here to slow down the Mikasa.
Yeah, that would be my choice as well. Don't let them build in that second foundation.
Okay, first thing we're gonna do is unfortunately add to the card pool. We're gonna see Tam probably hit that Weapon Clash button immediately. But we're at the 3 in card pool, so we're gonna start the equipment clash, or the equipment heist. Equipment heist. We're gonna start the heist.
Yeah, that was. I don't think that card is supposed to go off in your first attack.
No, definitely not. But Devil Jin is the guy to make it happen, right?
Yeah, so that airship that we had discarded from our hand, we can see it get built in right away here, or we could go and grab a massive mutant machine. It looks like we're going to be searching through our deck instead of our discard pile here.
So oftentimes I'll see them pick up a Cerritos first, but it looks like we're going straight for the mutant machine, saying, "Hey, you don't have any resets on board. I'm just going to start dumping damage onto this thing." Okay.
Yeah, and this means that this means that on our next turn, we can have the mutant machines ready to, because you really want to pour them, I feel like, into your opener and make your opener as fast as possible. So it's
what
nice to not have to wait.
What I've seen from some of these Devil Jins, I mean, before the nerf, obviously, but is they'll try to bank the mutant machines. Looks like I'm getting a little bit of lag here. Need to bear with us because they are across the ocean from us, but they'll bank those mutant machines for a huge attack later on in the string. If, and that's a big if, obviously, if they think their opponent can't deal with it, right? There's no reset, and on this board there is no reset, right? And there's no you've seen your opponent's deck list, you know that they don't have any barrier shields or anything like that from hand, and so that's what you can. Oh, here's a hate fish, holy smokes.
Yep, and we had 3 attacks in our card pool, immediately changed into 1 attack in our card pool, thanks to the camouflage counter, stacking the deck and assuring our next check, giving our next check effectively +2. And yeah, I think the easily the coolest attack in this Devil Jin list, Hate Fish coming in, a 1 low for 7 that doubles its next speed or damage bonus. So if we added, for example, 5/5 for mutant machines, now that could be like plus 10 speed. And it's not really a one speed attack. If we sense that they don't have the block, we can double our
Yeah.
damage from Devil Jin. Pretty cool, versatile card here.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we don't have to have a judge snafu, because this has happened before in front of me where people think that it gets double the speed and damage from a single source, but it will double whatever the first thing is. So I'm hoping we don't have to get to that point. But I will assume we're gonna double the damage from well, I guess it depends, right? If you think your opponent um has a block in hand, you could double the speed, and then that puts it to 11 speed. And if your opponent couldn't block a 9 low for 11, they probably are not going to be able to block a 11 low for 12 or 15, I think, after the Devil Jin enhance. So we'll see what we're going to decide to do. It looks like we're adding to the card pool, and it hasn't used the Hate Fish enhance yet because we've only added 3 there. Damage, sorry, 3 damage so far. Shri is deciding where to go from there.
I'm a little bit surprised that Tam didn't block the Kraken to avoid the camouflage counters assuring the next check, since
He might not have been able to.
Yeah, we could have blown up that foundation from Weapon Clash, though they got frozen by Kraken.
He I think
Or did he?
he did to draw cards.
Okay. Okay, then that makes sense if you're digging for the block and you just didn't find it.
Yeah.
But if you didn't find the, I don't know if he changed the Kraken to a low, or if he sneakily kept it a high.
Okay, he did it correctly. Love to see it. So right now it's an 11 low for 15. And I don't think this is blockable, so Tam, I think, is at 22. The Chimera was for 13. Goes down to 7. Yeah, a camouflage counter on top of the deck.
It just doesn't feel fair that it's been two attacks and Tam is at 7 health. Like,
if he has a
35
second
health
Hate
is supposed
Fish,
to be a lot.
Goblin Bolt on a 5, checks a 4.
Okay, we cannot. Yeah, well, we knew we were going to check that.
So I could see tapping Devil Jin, keeping Exam Strategy up for the speed, because it's either 4 damage, which at this point the mutant machine you grab is going to make it happen. Yeah, that's where we're going for it.
Yeah, grab another mutant machine, use Exam. That's plus 8 speed.
Yeah. But the thing here is that I think Goblin Bolt is a high. Correct me if I'm wrong. Or is it another low attack?
It is.
Yeah,
It is a high.
So this is feasibly blockable. No, printed Goblin Bolt is a 3 speed for 3. It's gonna
we
get.
have to make the choice. Is the zone change more valuable, or is the speed change?
I think, and he's definitely said
valuable?
speed, so it's gonna get to 11. It's also gonna get to 11 speed with Exam Strategy. Yeah, I think we might see a turn 2
On 2 foundations.
on 2 foundations. Yeah.
Checking a 3 on our opening attack.
Technically check the 3 on every single one of these because the camouflage counters went on top of the deck. Yeah, okay. Yeah, 11 high, 11. There it is. Catch. Okay, blocking on a 12. No, sir, we did not get there. Okay, well, there's a quick one for game 1.
Yeah, we said it was probably gonna be a quick
wow.
top
His
8.
hand, and Tam's hand was definitely set up for a turn 2 as well. He had 2 focused gravity beams and 2 Teharas in hand. Wow.
Yeah, I'm glad we fixed Devil Jin by making him defensive only, and offensive only on his enhance, and getting rid of teaming with the attack titan.
Yeah.
Devil Jin was one of those characters where when he was first revealed, I thought he was, I'm going to be honest, I thought he was bad. I thought he was terrible, because he reads so funky. It was
It's
like we're a five-hander clogging our own card pool. We only get out of the 3 check once. I wasn't seeing the vision and just surviving through multiple bans and erratas.
Yeah, so it's funny because it took he's as good as whatever the best thing you can stuff into the card pool is most of the time, and
Mhm.
until we hit the equipment heist, right? And we've seen like characters who are like Devil Jin, who are like Hawks, right? Who actively want to get a bunch of attacks in their card pool, use the card pretty well. The difference between Hawks and Devil Jin is Hawks skews defensive and Devil Jin skews incredibly offensive, right? And there are two ways to remove your opponent from the equation. And the more efficient one is to just remove them entirely from the equation through aggression, right? um and so that's why I think we've seen Devil Jin see more success here. And the thing is, the removal of Attack Titan, teaming with the Attack Titan is definitely makes the craziest of turn twos and turn threes less viable, but they're certainly capable of it, as you saw from last game. I mean, sending a 9 low for 13 into an 11 low for 15 into an 11 low 11 or 11 high 11, right? It's like not what a lot of decks can deal with on turn two. Um, but I mean that's why Rodan won our last event, when
Mhm.
even with teaming with the Attack Titan was legal, is just because the capacity to be able to block something like an 11 speed move on turn two makes for a the only defense you got into something like that. And these decks do some similar things, um in that they're trying to kill you early, but the way they go about it is a little different, because Devil Jin attacking you probably 3 times before they can't attack anymore. Mikasa attacking you like 9 times, just attacking your hand size as opposed to your life total, directly, if that makes
Yeah, yeah.
sense.
Mikasa's testing the number of hands. I mean, and the number of cards that you have in your hand, and the number of blocks that you can put out, and what kind of disruption pieces did you put in your deck. Devil Jin also disruption pieces can work, but he's taxing. Do you have resets?
Yeah, the biggest thing is finding a reset, right? And they, as we saw last game, right? He's oftentimes going to open with a Chimera Kraken, so you oftentimes have to have two board
Mhm.
pieces before you can, reasonably be able to interact, which is frustrating for me in this format. Is the plethora of options to be able to seal or commit or deal with something on a defensive player's board. But that's the reality of the game, is that you need to have ways to deal with your opponent's defensive options, but you also need enough defensive options to be able to fight through the amount of Tim Keefing that people are able to do. um but like I was talking about before the game started, right? I thought the first player's advantage was going to be really important. I thought that the game was going to be explosive, and I think that games 2 and 3 are going to be a little slower, just because we've added in a bunch of interaction now.
Yeah, did Tam side in? We
Yes,
did.
yes,
Surely we
definitely
did.
did.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and I think Shri did as well. He just took 2 pile shuffles after the board.
Yeah, I guess for Shree's side, the runaway makes sense, or the filled with doubts to keep from clearing. I'm just not sure that like on I mean, we just saw that crazy aggressive opening line. I always worry about taking out consistency pieces in an aggro deck and
Mm.
putting in defensive pieces, because it, sometimes I feel like it's better just for the aggro deck to stay aggro than to try to play like it's defensive. But going second, you know that you're going to have to survive at least one turn.
Yeah, and Tam here, you can see, did get some interaction. So even with the Chimera Kraken, we're gonna have 2 things that Divulsion's gonna need to fight through: a forcing surrender, gonna be able to remove the equipment heist from the card pool, and then moment of rest is going to be something to, reset one of those giant speed giant attacks. And so, as Devil Jin, you have to fight through those or deal with them somehow.
Yeah, now he plays his own moment and he says, "You've got it normal art. I've got the alt art, and I've got the
That's
alt art
true.
horrifying realization." Um, Unfortunately, no XRs for the Attack on Titan sets. So
Yeah, the
normal.
worst part of those sets, no XRs. No idea what this card is, but I assume it's a 1 or a 5. Okay, it looks like it's Inspiring Song.
Yeah, that's a very, very solid build here. We can be a six-hander on our next turn thanks to short-lived promotion. But Focus
Okay.
Gravity Beam coming out early on Tam side is going to be able to remove itself.
Yeah, we're gonna see if Tam tries to do anything insane this turn. Uh, with only 3 foundations, I don't know how uh viably we were gonna be able to deal 35, but I've seen less. Wow. No
Yeah,
Botans. No, you didn't even use the Botans. Said, I
and
want that last card in your hand more than I want to dig one more card. Holy smokes.
yeah, unlike like for Devil Jin, we saw a turn two kill on only two foundations, but it's a little bit harder for Mikasa to do that on few foundations because Mikasa's depending on blowing them up to continue the draw. And in order to chew through 35 health of Devil Jin, we're gonna need a 7+ attack string.
Yeah, and so we didn't even use Focus Gravity Beams Enhanced to remove it from the card pool. So that tells me that we're going to be, attacking. We're not going to be attacking anymore. So it's, yeah, you see here, we're just going to do a build. We're going to get a momentum and we're going to pass it back to Shri with that Forcing Surrender and with that Moment of Rest available on the board. On Shri's side of the table, we see we're going to use that. Oh, goodness gracious. The +1 hands a short-lived promotion, which is a card I think was slept on for a while, man. I love that little card.
Yeah,
But
it's that when you think of flip to draw a card, that's a one difficulty kind of foundation typically. Uh, but the short-lived promotion, doing like the earlier you draw your card in the turn, the more powerful it is. And so to draw it before you've even played anything gives it that extra value.
hmm oh, so we're responding here, and oh, what did I just miss? Something that kicked it out of the card pool.
Did he just check poorly on it and choose to fail it?
Maybe it looks like that's what happened. Oh, okay, yeah. So we saw Shri attempted to play the move, and Tam responded with fighting for control. So Shri gonna be building. Add in the camouflage counter to draw our card, and then build afterwards. I mean, that's about as efficient as it can get for fighting for control.
Yeah, I would. I mean, that equipment heist is basically what killed Tam in that game one. That
100%. Yeah.
yeah. If that hadn't come down on turn two, none of those crazy stats happen.
Okay, 2 equipment heists gone. Oh, when he had a Koenma. Can Koenma cancel the enhance?
It can cancel. It can cancel the form, right? Or not the form. The
Yeah, you can cancel one of those digs with the Koenma.
it's just that it doesn't stop it for the whole turn.
Yeah. It doesn't discard from the card pool or nothing like that. Which, funnily enough, Showdown used to do. The original wording on. Am I wrong here? Yeah. Showdown's original verbiage was after your opponent plays an ability on an action, discard it and cancel its effects. But here we go, starting with Anchor Toss. What a twist. Oh, Goblin Bolt. So Goblin Bolt can't cancel the response on the anchor uh, uh, toss, but it can cancel something like the focused gravity beam and the dual needle lunge. So that is going to be something to worry about here, right? So, and I assume that's what's going to happen here is Tam is going to try to remove this from the card pool, and Shri is going to just say, nope. Oh, but we're removing Koenmas. That means there's a Koenmas in the discard pile and a Koenmas in removed. So if we have it, if we have the third one already, we could see maybe all of the equipment heists removed from the deck.
Well, two of them are at least protected being in the discard pile. But I say protected. If you make Double Jin have to cycle to go grab them again, that would be.
Yeah, I think that would give you some breathing room for sure.
And on Tam's side, I guess you just count for whatever attack you have the most of left in your deck, but grabbing all your Luna Tijeras or all your anchor tosses seems pretty good.
As it, you definitely go for your fourth Koenmas, and then you have knowledge at that point. You get to remove two things from your opponent's deck, and then you don't have to count. You can just count what's in your deck after the first Koenmas. So yeah, there's a Koenmas in the discard pile, one in the remove from game pile, and we did some amount of counting there. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, and the Goblin Bolt got flipped, assuming to cancel the clear.
Yeah. Yeah, 2 Inspiring Songs, it functions as breaker 2 here. With only 4 foundations and 1 in card pool. And I assume Tam doesn't have the third Koenmas, because I feel like that would be a windmill slam if I ever saw one.
Yeah, he's going to get the opportunity to dig for one, but how?
Oh, he has it. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I would have windmill slammed it. I would have gotten so excited. Okay, so yeah, you can name Koenmas again, which means he's going to be able to go through his deck for Koenmas. He's probably going to name, an attack, or I mean, in my opinion, it would be the equipment heist, because you want to remove Shri's ability to, get that Yahtzee. But he might name an attack.
I think you're right on equipment heist. That Koenmas task synergy with focus gravity beam of not even having to. Oh, he's naming Chimera Kraken. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, he said there's 4 of those in the deck, so maybe he's going to attack the attacks. Yeah, I mean,
they're all chrome.
Wow. Yeah, Shri not afraid to flex. I wonder if they're double sleeves, huh?
You just get a new one if something happens to one.
Yeah, the humble the humble $55 Mikasa deck against the Giga Chad $3,000 Devil Jin.
Yeah, this Koenmas task
just deleted $2,000.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is a game-winning move right here.
Yeah, I mean,
and I said I would have sided him out. What do I know?
I mean, how often do you see a turn 3 Koenmas task? You have to be incredibly lucky. Okay, so he's seeing which attacks he has in the deck. And keep in mind, we are still going to be playing on 5s. Okay, all right, yeah. You can do it, Tam. I believe in you. You can shuffle your deck.
What did we grab?
He grabbed Koenmas.
And now he's gonna, I guess the judge is telling him to.
No. He was just deciding he was going through his deck and deciding what to grab with the second Koenmas. So checks it. This time we're gonna name.
Oh, I didn't realize that a check still need that you'd have to play the next Koenmas. You do have to shuffle up for it. It just feels a little bit tedious.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's the nature of the card, because you do need to randomize the check. So he's deciding. Maybe he forgot what was in his opponent's deck.
Maybe we're pausing for a judge call. I don't think that Shri's deck was ever reshuffled up after Tam searched it.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. You don't need to until after the second Columbus. So he has to name it before searching. So yeah, we're getting rid of the equipment heist. Or no, the massive mutant machines. Interesting. I guess that's another way to do it, right? If you um so one of them is in the art, so it will be available if Shri finds it. But yeah, this is an incredibly effective uh uh opener for us. Oh wow. Gonna have four dual needles.
Dual Needles is interesting here though because we can't remove the focus gravity beam. I mean, if we played these
Yeah,
this turn, they would all be on 6s.
I assume that he's going to be building for the follow up.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Just keep all go into your next turn with 4 dual needle lunges. They're all low
Oh,
blocks as well.
wow. On
Or
it.
we're just gonna
We removed 4 attacks from the deck, but there's other ones still exist, you know? Wow. Yeah, I mean, I could see Tam die because of this. I mean, if you're going to go for something like this, maybe it was a Terrace instead. Maybe he just has a bunch of Terrace in hand. Oh, yeah, it looks like he has a bunch of Terrace in hand anyway. So this might be just, play as many of the dual needles before you start doing the Terrace, because right now the count is 2. Um,
Yeah, it
so
just feels you can't guarantee another dual needle. So if you played another dual needle and checked a 3, I mean, it would
it
feel
could get
like you went
over. Let me show 3 dual needles.
+9 damage.
Yeah. Oh man, could you imagine? Show any number of cards from hand. That would be like a once per turn, I think. Okay, all right, let's see what he goes for. Is it going to be a second dual needle lunge to try to make that to Harris on 4s?
Yeah, that
Okay, no, just going to be building. Huh.
makes sense to me. We know that we have low blocks in hand now for the camouflage counters. And those hate fishes, they're base 1 speed. We took out all the mutant machines. They're going to stay base 1 speed unless we put in like an exam strategy or
Well, there
something.
there is, I think, one mutant machine left in the discard pile. I'm going to
Okay. Okay.
double
So you can
check
still
how
grab
many
that
we
one.
play. Shri plays 3 mutant machines, so there's one available if he somehow finds the equipment heist plus the number of attacks he needs, and it looks like he did draw it. And forcing surrender is not available, so this is going
That's
to
a
stay in the card pool, and all 4 Koemas are gone, so he's going to be able to get that mutant machine. Now, without without the number of mutant machines that he had in game 1, that explosive turn is certainly not going to be available, but we do have an exam strategy on board, you know? No Chimera Krakens to deal with this moment of rest, though. So I think that Tam is going to be able to, you know, survive, assuming he's got the right block zones, which we know he's got three lows in hand at the moment. So here comes the camouflage counter.
Yeah, this makes sense. I wonder if not hitting the equipment heists is gonna come back to bite Tam or not.
Yeah, I think he was valuing the maybe he said I have a forcing surrender, but he ended up, tapping that one last turn. Um, but yeah, we'll see.
Camouflage counter cannot stack itself. Only the one that's put in by Devil Jin
Yeah,
can
you can get
respond here.
a second one.
We have the Dreaming About Fighting, I think it is, a Mutant Ninja Turtles Foundation that says form flip, name a card type. If it's that card type, you get to play it.
Okay, so you can
stack the camo and then name attack and grab the camo.
do an Asui 4 impression. Yeah, I mean, so I'll assume that this is a 2 low 6 right now. Do you block it and force Shri to have another attack in hand? I think the answer is yes.
Yeah, I think I would block it.
Oh, takes it.
Well, yeah, and I think we're going to see that form flip here and say, okay, we can play it at some point this turn. How did he guess right? Just so lucky over
Crazy.
here.
Yeah, wow. The rich get richer. Okay, gonna go for the second camouflage counter. And I guess maybe the idea is to, well, there's all of the equipment heists gone. Um, Maybe the idea is to block the second one because then Devil Jin is on, more cards in card pool at that point. But we're
Yeah,
gonna see Shri get to 3 attacks.
yeah, and with the horrifying that gets to re-ready and Shri's stage is pretty healthy, it's going to be difficult to, I don't know, make progressive the reason.
Oh wow!
Okay.
So there's the sideboarded hero's upbringing. Um, has Devil Jin used his ability? Is it 3 times or 2 times? I guess it's 2. Same ability on the card for
Yeah,
second or
2
greater
times.
time this turn, seal their character. This means Devil Jin is not going to be able to respond to
A 3 check.
a 3 check. Yeah, so we are, if this gets blocked, we are on triple progressive. Not that we can't pass that check, right? We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 foundations up, but it does mean that the damage is just not going to be there for Devil Jin, right? So this is the 206 into a 207 is going to be the most the Devil Jin can put out for this turn. Apart from, I think there's a single exam strategy on the board.
Yeah, Devil Chin can still do a little bit of damage, but at this point, we know that Tam's hand is the ultimate sculpted hand of
Yeah,
dual needle lunges and lunas, and that
resetting the
there's not
damage.
going to be, there's almost certainly no lethal line here with the hero's upbringing. Devil Chin's
Yeah,
very, very dependent on um, adding the massive amount of damage.
yeah, and Tam just saying I'm not blocking, so he doesn't care about the camouflage counters being put on top of the deck.
That's interesting because horrifying realization is another way to just grab that camo counter and keep
That is
playing
where
them.
my head's at too. Yeah, I would have wanted to block, but he's saying, hey, without Devil Jin, you're not going to be able to go quite as deeply as I think you want to. But I could see Tam die even through all of this interaction. There is an exam strategy on board. If you just go like, here's a 4 damage move, here's a 4 damage move.
Yeah, I'm very surprised by the no block there. We're not letting Devil Jin respond to the 3 check, and we know that we have the low block in hand. I suppose it was Mutant Machine. Mutant Machines got added on, and it probably wasn't blockable.
Well, so he used Moment of Rest to reset it. He could have reset it speed instead of damage.
Oh, I see.
Is where my head's at. I mean, I guess with the dual needle being a 3+ low block modifier, you could feasibly block it or feasibly fail it. So I could understand not wanting to risk it. If you had failed the check to block it, the game is certainly losable there. But we had plus to the check from an inspiring song. Is that what was going on there?
From the camo counters.
Oh, camo. Okay, yeah.
Let's see. So we still have our inspiring songs. I mean that's our only Mutant Machine that we're going to be able to build, which is the good news for Tam. And I don't think that there's a way to ready it. There's no pristine source play in this list.
So, but we do have an airship available, right? And so that means that, so this one's going to do 4, probably putting Tam to 18. Next one puts him to 14. And then we have to see if maybe there's a hate fish plus exam strategy. I think would
Yeah, that would make sense as the finisher.
That would be the winning line.
But like you were saying earlier, hate fish doesn't get to respond to the damage on exam strategy, which is what Shri would want.
True, but at that point it would be big enough on its own where the +4/+4 would, getting to 11 damage, right? If we can attack enough times. Gonna attempt to block. If we can make this, it's a huge deal. Wow. Yeah, that might be enough. Blah. Okay, so here is the humble
grasp.
humble tentacle grasp. Holy moly.
What do you think the because this was a sideboard card, what do you think the thinking was of bringing this from the side to the main board?
It might have just been that it's a throw, right? Just getting more 3 difficulty throws in there. Or 3 difficulty attacks, and it's a throw because you know that Mikasa is going to be able to block, so you want your hit triggers to go off. This unless camouflage counter doesn't react to a throw. Let me go
Should.
double.
I think it does.
Yeah, after your attack resolves, edit. No, sorry. After another attack deals damage, yeah, it doesn't matter if it's a throw or not. So it might just be respecting Tam's capacity to full block things,
Hmm.
or maybe
I
just wanted more
appreciate.
attacks.
I think the tentacle grasp is pretty cool in Devil Jin that you get to throw your opponent once they see it, they have to be thinking about it because you can slam all the damage in the world on it, and if they don't have throw hate, they can't do anything about it. So maybe Superfly Stomp was cited out. I haven't seen a Superfly Stomp yet this game for it.
Yeah, I mean, so we're gonna see if Shri decides to pick up one of these camouflage counters, or yeah, it looks like he's gonna pick up the camouflage counter and then use the other one on hit, assuming there's no throw hate in Tam's deck, which I don't think there is. But timely, oh wow. So if we make this check, breaker 3,
Yeah, that 5 check is gonna
there's 2
was
goes to
absolutely
20.
essential here. Breaker 3 cannot respond with Devil Jin for the 3 if we check a 3. We didn't use inspiring songs for our next check. We're probably wishing that we had now.
Yeah, it certainly, he might have been saving it for deeper into the string. But camouflage is gonna leave the card pool, because this one did do damage. Shree's making a decision. Oh, he's passing turn.
That's just the end of it.
Wow. Huh. That
Well,
of all the ways for that turn to end, that was not one of
you
them.
were saying that timely counterattack, basically the core piece of the Mikasa deck. It's 3 damage on offense, it's breaker 3 on defense. You can kind of control your foundations to get the bonus stats on it.
Yeah, I mean it's certainly the only card that I think is consistent across every single Mikasa list. Is timely counterattack, and then focus gravity beam, I think, is the next big one. But okay, going to be adding one of those dual needles back to hand to do some loop-de-looping. Draw 2 cards. Whoa, look at that, a dual needle lunge.
What is the momentum out here on this Mikasa deck? Is it just the
So you have,
EX2 on Dual Needle Lunge?
yeah, there's EX on dual needle lunge. There's powerful on focused gravity beam, and I guess deadlock powerful on Luna Tejeras.
Okay, I did not realize that there was powerful and focused gravity beam.
Yeah, that card just has all sorts of words on it, dude. It's just got all of the words. Powerful 3, stun 1, ranged, 1 low 4, 1 high block. It does it all. It's just not good in any other deck.
Yeah, you have to exhaust all their other resources before you throw powerful on your.
Oh sure, but if you're trying to do some of that looping,
Yeah.
it's not a terrible idea to just full send, and because you're attacking so many times, the 1 speed ends up being kind of a catch-22. Does your opponent early block? I love that card as an opener. I think it's a very strong opener.
Yeah, and for anyone just joining us, since we are in the morning hours here in the U.S., Tam did not just get lucky and rip a hot hand. We had a Koenma's task happen the previous turn, and so all of these dual needle lunges were brought from the deck into the hand. And so momentum is going to be crazy here in just a little bit.
So interesting. Driven by Retribution is just got discarded. That's a card that I totally missed. I mean, not that we got it out, but that's a card that could certainly disrupt Mikasa, because a lot of the cards discard after resolution, and Driven by Retribution does its thing during the damage step. So there you go for the folks at home. That's a good one to sideboard or mainboard, as
Yeah,
is the
I
case, I'm
assume
sure.
if it got discarded, we would have liked to have built it, but maybe if that was our only foundation hand, the Breaker 3 came in.
Yeah, the Breaker 3 certainly disrupted our turn. So we're going to -2 to Tam's next check to play a card. Gonna be using EX2 twice for 4 speed. It's a 9 high for 8 at the moment. 7 high. Yeah. Okay. Somebody made it 9, but it was only +4 speed.
So yeah, the other having Shree's turn end early there with us at 20 health was pretty essential, because if we had gone down to sub 5 health, these dual needle lunges would not be nearly as good.
For certain. Yeah. Yeah. Sri is quite low after the first string. Whittled him down to, I think, 13. Oh, the life counter's in the corner of the screen, you silly goose.
Yeah,
Is
I
indeed
don't
13.
see. I personally don't see any chance of Devil Jin living this turn.
Well, so if we attempt the another dual needle and we check out 3, we'd have to tap 4 foundations. And so from there, if you continue to check poorly, you could see Mikasa's turn ending. But I do think that the amount of attacks that have been removed from the deck makes it very unlikely we're going to be checking poorly for this turn. It can still happen. There is a world where Tam just, checks so abysmally that he has to pass the turn back. And if that's the case, 14 is definitely doable, even with just one mutant machine.
Oh, and Tam just keeps. I mean, Tam has to win here, because every dual needle lunge is going to be 3 more life.
Correct. Yeah. He's gone from 20 to 14 over, 2 attacks. Okay, gonna take it, go to 5. Dual needle leaves the card pool. And so now we're gonna see if Tam plays a 3 difficulty, maybe. 2 things have left the card pool. So Teharis is functionally a 4 difficulty. It just depends on what, that's why we see him in the tank here, is because he has -2 to his check from the inspiring songs. And so, yeah, there we go. Teharis is going to be played on a 4 because it's going to be lethal on partial.
Yeah, and he checks a 3, commits 1, and this likely is just it. I guess there's
Yeah.
moment of normalcy here to reset it.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we didn't use it in the previous move.
So we can survive at 1.
Yeah. So going to be showing you 3 damage, putting it to 10. And that's going to force the moment of normalcy. But I wouldn't be just surprised with the amount of cards that Tam has been drawing to see a second Teharis to win the game.
Yeah, let's see. Here comes the moment of normalcy. Take it down to 7. It's going to be an easy block, but we already saw the dual needle lunge in hand. There's no way to fail the dual needle lunge.
Yeah, he's also
We're
got
just
to
going through
block
the
it,
motions.
right? But David, what if he's run out of attacks? Okay, take your 4, sir. Dual needle lunge again on a 6. Okay, yeah, all right. That's the end of game 2. Okay. Kind of seeing not entirely my vision. I didn't see a turn 3 Koenmas in the works here, but enough interaction from Tam to be able to disrupt the Devil Jin turn 2. And for Shree's part, attempting to get a win together through it. I think that the only thing I would have changed was hitting the equipment heists over the mutant machines, because I'd rather attack the source of the build than the actual thing that you'd like to build.
Yeah, that was just a total, like, a showcase of actions there for Tam. Both of them, the Koenmas won. I felt the Koenmas definitely felt like the game winner, but it was also Hero's upbringing completely shutting down Devil Jin's turn.
Hmm.
And so the combination of the hero's upbringing and the Koenmas together tilted the course of that game. I'd be interested to see what Tam is thinking here of changing since he's going second now. Um, Choosing to keep all four Koenmas plus the three heroes upbringings, that's a pretty dense action ratio for a five-hander that can lead to some clogged opening hands. But going second, you get the selective mulligan, so that shouldn't be
Yeah,
too bad.
it was more risky going first than it was going second because of the mulligan rules. But I agree. I agree. I think that keeping it all in, it won you the second game. You're going second, so you have to be a little more defensive than you were the previous two games. And it's game three. I feel like you just gotta, stick by what worked. That one took a while though.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though it was or like, that wasn't like a turn six game. They both play so many attacks
Hmm.
that
A lot of
turn
enhanced
so
steps.
long.
Man, if my opponent pile shuffled in front of me between every game, I think I would have a conniption. Not to mention pile shuffling twice.
I get really if I don't do a pile shuffle, but I get really superstitious that everything clogs together because when you after you play a game, all of your foundations are naturally going to be in one place since they were in your stage. All of your attacks, kind of go to one. Or, your other cards have a higher, denser ratio of attacks because your foundations. If you got 15 foundations or something, I get it. It's top cuts. He has time to shuffle, but
That's what shuffling's for, David. It's to randomize your deck. I get where you're coming from. It's just funny to see him uh pile it up twice. I wonder if the second pile shuffle was because he had a second thought about maybe he sideboarded something in after his first pile shuffle. But maybe I'm wrong.
I can see that.
Oh no, we're going for it again. Okay. No? Oh bless, he's drawing 5. Okay, here we go. 2 5-handers, by the way.
Yeah, two very, very fake five-handers. We saw a lot of the horrifying realization and the dreaming about fighting, really adding a lot of consistency to Devil Jin. It felt like Camouflage Counter has been the engine of the deck, at least attack-wise. Of course, Equipment Heist is what brings the crazy high ceiling to Devil Jin, but the Camouflage Counter has felt like the main character on the attack lineup.
Yeah, I mean it's like you said, right? But on his face, Devil Jin is nothing to write home about. It's the fact that he can add in things like Camouflage Counter and Aerial Goblin Bolt, right? I mean, Aerial Goblin Bolt is what earned him his Zerata, because
Mm.
being able to shove in a cancel on every single attack your opponent's playing is, turns out not fun. But the Equipment Heist just synergizes with him so well, above and beyond every other option in the format, because he is actively adding attacks to the card pool, and so his face is not good. I mean, I agree with you. I think it's not a good ability unless there are, the options we see in the format that don't need to be played as attacks, right? The attacks are piddly, right? 4 damage, 3 damage, but Devil Jin makes up for that by putting a massive mutant machine amount of damage onto them.
Yeah, and that's why you don't need like a walk the dog. Damage never feels like the issue
Yep.
for Devil Jin. A really good build, by the way, for Tam here. Double weapon clash. We can get the 6 foundations going into our turn
Yeah.
2,
And a
and we have a
fashion
reset.
icon. Yeah. Fashion icon's a card that I think gets slept on too. Death has, a ton of speed and damage interaction, but people tend to lean into that damage. The damage side not going to be a turn 2 from Shri. You're gonna, and I like that he didn't poke either. Well, there's always cool, but fashion icon is the one from Best Genius Kit that I felt like I was taking crazy pills. I was like, this card's nuts. Imagine your opponent has a hate fish in their card pool, and you can reset their, uh, 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 I don't know what the fastest card in our deck is, but it's very good into this deck because a lot of those small difficulty attacks have 1 and 2 speed. And a lot of decks have that where they're opening with something slow and then ending the game with something fast. But yeah, always cool was the one that ended up being like a $5 to $10 rare, and Fashion Icon was this little comment that nobody was putting in their decks. And I was just like, man, I think this one's really good, and it has a really sick looking promo.
Yeah. I think that I don't know if Shri purposely took the build turn or if they just drew into the foundations, but really, really good play in my opinion, because you're now built up to a very nice stage to where you can go crazy on your next turn, and you kept Tam from getting to 6
Double weapon
foundation.
clash. Yeah. I think so too. You don't want to poke into double weapon clash without an answer to it, or unless you're killing them. But yeah, I mean, this does mean that Tam's going to have draw 4 available, right? Without having to tap foundations or destroy any untapped foundations.
Yeah, it might work out the same either way, but at least they weren't ready going into the turn.
Well,
And
it means that they are not going to be used to pass checks. I saw a Tahira's draw, and I think it was another focus gravity beam.
yeah, that would be a pretty nuts turn 2. Driven by retribution, though, like you said, could be a
Huge.
game changer here.
Huge. I mean, we're going to likely see it be used here because it can remove the gravity beam on the damage step, because the enhance says to remove it after it resolves, and it also hits the only interaction that Tam has on his board. So and this is where I think that Tam is, he's feeling not having drawn an arrogant fighter. And he did get a scout too to potentially grab. Oh, he did. Hang on. Did he check it, or is that what he destroyed?
I think that was what was destroyed. I think that was the face down, but you can't
Oh, it
respond
was
to
face down.
arrogant fighter face down.
See, and that's why I play Loss of Consciousness. Imagine if that was what we grabbed with the a weapon clash.
Yeah, you pay the price for it to be a spam foundation.
Okay, and so there we go. We're gonna see the focus gravity beam removed. It did what he wanted it to do, but Fashion Icon's in the card pool.
Yeah, now playing that dual needle lunge is pretty risky, so we're opting to go with another focus gravity instead, which is going to make that Luna Tahira's pretty low. But with the Fashion Icon in our card pool, and 3 ready foundations, it's probably going to be hard to count to 35.
If he gets another card that can leave card pool, the Tahira's are going to be 3 difficulties. So the dual needle, I don't think is going to get played. I think it's going to, if we have another card that can leave card pool, it will be a anchor toss, which should be on a 5 as well. But after that point, the Tahira's would be on 4, 5s, and 6. So I could see Shri die here.
I think those inspiring songs might, well, we're choosing to commit it.
Yeah, gotta contest that. You had exam strategy ready. I think you might need those inspiring songs for later. Can I be removing here for Tam? I assume and if you're removing your speed or damage reset, you gotta assume he's gonna be trying to kill. Yeah, Deviljin taking 14 off rip.
Yeah, that should be like a
alarm bell.
Alarm, yeah, going off for Deviljin when
third
get rid
focus.
of Desperate Struggle.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, you got to be. And so the thing is here, right? Why not the exam strategy?
Yeah, I don't understand not using them. They could have both been used on the last one,
and I think that could be what wins this game.
Yeah, because if we had used both inspiring songs going into this focus gravity beam, even if we check a 5, we checked a 3, we're only on 1 ready foundation.
Yeah. Stun, another keyword stapled onto focus gravity beam, by the way. I I'm a little flabbergasted. So yeah, I think that will happen. I think I saw 2 Harris in hand, so I think that that's going to be the follow up. Is just here's a 1 low 7 into a 1 low 7 into a 1 low 7, and Harris on 4, 5, and maybe 6 if we found the third one.
Yeah, and Tahara still works with the driven by retribution. You know, it still gets the minus difficulty from driven
Yes,
kicking the card.
yes, because it did leave the card pool. Wow. I mean, that's a pretty good sign if you want to think of it, right? Your opponent taking 21 before you've. Okay, wow,
This is
this is
going
a
to be the one.
huge check. Okay, yeah, makes the check to play the dual needle lunge. Wow.
Yeah, that felt like the check that really mattered.
Mm-hmm. Well, because this means that the Harrises are going to be on.
And that's
3,
again
4,
that
5.
just shows us also that Tam is not playing for another turn at all.
Yeah, he's just going to be digging for T. Harris's.
Yeah, you would have not in no world play your low block on a 6 that ends your turn on a 3 check if you cared about the future.
3 high 8. Not blocking this would put us down to 6. Botans.
Yeah, that's another, I don't want to keep harping on it. Sorry, my voice is going out on me. But had we used those inspiring songs going into the dual needle lunge, because Tam was showing the dual needle lunge. So,
So he's got another one in hand. Do you think he's going to go for another one?
Too risky. It's too risky. This is only going to be, this is a full block, but checking a 3.
Checks a 4, 5, 6. Now we're completely tapped out. Drew a card.
Yeah, what does Tam have to do? Oh,
Anchor toss on a 5.
This should mean that he's totally safe because a 3 check there and you could still remove it and play your Luna.
And now the Luna to Harris's are on 2, 3, 4. Wow. Yeah, I mean, this is how games go sometimes. Sometimes you just check 5 straight 5s in the deck that can remove them all from the card pool.
Yeah, I think we were maybe feeling a little comfortable after the driven by retribution, feeling like we were saved. But we were not saved.
That one's on a 2. And because I think Shri can't block, it's just going to be lethal.
This is 10 damage.
I mean, he could have does he have any zeros in deck? I think it's the lowest is a 1, which would mean you'd have to check a 6.
I guess equipment heist.
There it is.
Tam, Cardwell, and one of our moving on to top 4 with one of the Mikasa Ackermans, Hizuru's Hope. 3 of these made it to top 8 for a reason, a 100% conversion ratio for, I feel like, the kind of latest aggro deck on the scene. And we got to witness the power of it there. We had a driven by retribution, take one of our foundations, stuff our card pool. It didn't matter. Still played 7, 8 attacks on that turn.
Yeah, certainly went all out on that turn, right? Went from 6 foundations to 1 by the end of the turn. But that's the way that character functions, to be honest. We do have an update on score from our other games. Mitchell Mitchell the character is still in game 1 against he was playing against Hanji, I think. Then we have the other 2 games. Kai is up 1 game and just started game 2, and Kevin is up 1 game, and they're in game 2 as well. So we went to 3 games before some of the other players were done with their first one, even. So definitely a strap in for a full round, probably.
Yeah, that probably means that we're gonna have a little bit of an extended break into our top four. The fact that on the other side of the bracket, both control decks took game one over the
Mhm.
Mikasas, um, Deku and Rodan being up, and so viewers, you'll have to bear with us as we wait for our top four match here. But even though this match went pretty quickly, I still feel very, very happy that we got it on stream, especially to watch a Koenma's task happen so early in the game into
Mhm.
a game-changing hero's upbringing. We got to see Hatefish and the Devil Jin really, really work in that game one. And then game three just kind of went, check fives, take lives for Tam. But it was still a very, very enjoyable round to watch, and there were
Mhm.
a lot of decision points that truly mattered in the game, even though it was such an aggressive game plan from both decks. So very happy to have had that as our top 8 match. A little bit of a break here into our top 4. Um, any anything you have left for our viewers before we send them to the waiting screen?
Well, so because we're going to be going into a break. I do want to pick your brain.
Okay.
If Devil Jin, Porco, Pony all needed to be touched because of their turn two capacity. This is the third time we've seen a Mikasa turn to somebody on stream, which means it likely happened more in Swiss. And that data is not something that we have in the UGN. So, do you think that this is a character that needs to be touched?
Um, I honestly wouldn't personally.
Hmm.
I think that this is probably going to make Mikasa more of a focus going in. I'm not sure how much players were preparing for Mikasa going into this event, I guess is what I'm saying. And
Sure.
that it was a known quantity,
Hmm.
but it's never been like the boogeyman of a format. So I would allow it to be the what people are scared of in a format before you go and touch it, because I do think that um, that people could adjust to it. But hey, if turn two kills are something that we really want to take the consistency down, you're right. It's eligible for something to be hit, but at the same time, Devil Jin is probably even eligible for another, take away
100%.
camouflage
We saw
counter or
him
something.
turn to a 35 health character as well. That's definitely true. So even after the ban announcement, Devil's still capable of doing it. It's just, I think it is something interesting to think about for, I mean, for two people who have played the game competitively, to be candid about, is it worrying to see something like that, right? We saw that
Yeah.
Devilgen died, turn two there against the second player, right? Um, even through a driven by retribution disrupting the turn, right? Um, so I think that Guilty Gear has a ton of tools that are being printed that specifically attack the card pool, right? Or
Right.
card pool clearing. So we that's something that I would point at for people at home. But yeah, it definitely we do want to see more turns. We do want to see more turns. And we did see more turns in that second game. Just ended up being, what happens sometimes in game threes is that you risk it for the biscuit. And in that situation, you know, if Tam had checked a three on that dual needle lunge, the turn was over, right? If Tam
Yeah.
had checked a three on one of those 5 difficulty moves, so it was just uh, 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 a risk that he took and paid off for him. Otherwise, I think that if he had failed any one of those checks, his opponent would have been able to get another turn and likely kill, because Devil Jin certainly has the capacity to 35 without any interaction.
Yeah, and that's UniVersus. It's a it's a constant risk reward analysis game. What are the odds
Hmm.
I'm going to check poorly? What are the odds if I go for 2 more attacks that I can get it? Um, and I think Tam correctly assessed that allowing Devil Jin to have a turn with 8 foundations was likely not a lower risk than simply checking a 5 on the dual needle lunge.
And it's sounding like Tyak playing Rodan takes the second game here. So we've got another part of our bracket just updated.
So the other side of the bracket's giving us some hope against the Mikasas. We got Rodan taking it 2-0. A little bit surprising, since with such low health that Rodan was still able to survive. That would have been a fun one to have had on stream as well.
Hmm.
We'll see. Deku's up a game on the Mikasa, so there's a chance that in top four, Tam is our lone Mikasa representative.
Yeah, I think you're right. But with that being said, I think it's time to give David a break. Get a little nap in between rounds. All right, I'm the one getting a break. Sorry, David. Get me a nap between
You're right.
rounds, and I'll see you guys in the finals. David will be back for top four. And don't touch that dial. Hang out. We'll be chatting, and we'll see you soon.